check. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to National Signing Day at FIU. Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a lot of fun tonight. My name is AJ Ricketts. It's a pleasure to be the play-by-play broadcaster here. Thank you for being here. This is really one of the first times we've had an event like this here at FIU Stadium. You've got the concessions open. You have the Barnes & Noble over there. If you want to buy season tickets, that's available. We've got the tunnels set up and ready to go on the field. That's great for your Instagram. We have some sort of shark rodeo exhibition back there. Maybe we can get Coach Mac on that before the day is all done. But thank you so much for being here. It's terrific to have the support of the band, the Dazzlers, Section 112, and our administration as well. To get things started here, it's my pleasure to introduce our interim president, Dr. Ken Jessel. Let's give a round of applause.
Thank you, AJ, and thank you all for being here tonight on the official National Signing Day for college football. Even though we know signing day covers multiple periods, this is really the official day where we celebrate throughout the country the thousands and thousands of student athletes that have worked so hard over many years to get ready for this moment. And we are here to support them. For all of our new recruits, for all of our existing athletes, my hat is off to you. I know you have studied hard and worked hard to get to this point, and we are going to support you every step of the way. For all of you, I hope your key focus in selecting FIU was because of the great college experience, the great education that you are going to be receiving here. And you're going to be joining 58,000 of your college students, almost 11,000 faculty, staff, and student employees that will be here to support you day in and day out. And I can promise you that the athletics staff, the athletics teams, the administration throughout the university are here to support your success academically. That has to be your first and foremost goal. And I know in talking to the coaches and the teams, they are as committed to your success as every one of our faculty and support staff are. So I want to give you a great hand. I know firsthand, as a parent of a collegiate athlete, how important athletics is not only to the university, but the success of student athletes and non-student athletes as well. It is a very, very important part of the equation. We take it very, very seriously, and I know that you all are going to be great. Congratulations on your achievements, and thank you so much for selecting FIU. Go Panthers!
Thank you, Dr. Jessel. All right, up next, I know he wants to say a few words. Ever since he was hired just over 2 months ago, our new athletic director has hit the ground running, ready to spread the word and his vision for what FIU athletics can be. He's done a tremendous job. If you've been at any basketball game, you've probably seen him around, chopping it up. He's been driving around the state of Florida, spreading the word and mission of FIU as well. We're excited to have him here. You may have heard the term home run hire around social media when he was brought in, and that's exactly what he is. Let's give a round of applause for Scott Carr.
Thanks, AJ. I appreciate it. Really appreciate everybody being here tonight. As we've been talking about, it's a new day, exciting times. This is just the start. So impressed with Coach MacIntyre, what he's done his first 2 months here, the staff that he's put together. Excited to have the opportunity for you all to meet them tonight. Incredible coaches, incredible administrative staff that he's put together, and just really, really good people. So we're super excited about that. I did want to take a minute just to thank, there's so many folks here from the university that are here tonight. I know when I first started my job here, so many people told me, you'll be amazed at the support that you're going to see from the university. And that has been the truth from day one. So I'm going to hate leaving anybody out, but I tried to make a little bit of a list here as I saw some folks that were here. So let me make sure I get my list to try not to leave anybody out. Obviously, we have our interim provost, Dr. Behar, is here tonight, so we really appreciate her being here. Javier Marquez is here, Chief of Staff with the university, so appreciate Javi being here. Sarah Ducanoy with the alumni. Thank you so much, Sarah. We're going to do big things. We've got a very big alumni base, as you all have heard me talk about from my press conference till now, and it's been great partnering up with Sarah. We're going to get out there and really get Panther Nation activated. So appreciate you being here, and obviously Gina Duarte Romero, who's the president of the Alumni Association. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate that. Chief Alex Casas is here as well. Thank you for being here, Chief. Hopefully I won't need to call Chief anytime soon, but I do have his cell, so thank you for that. Dr. Pete Markowitz is here, our faculty athletics rep. Thank you for being here. And then I know I saw Jody Glassman is here as well from admissions. She has been wonderful as we're here for signing day today. Understand when it comes to signing day, our young folks, admissions is a huge piece in that process. So thank you for being here as well, Jody. Thank you so much for that. Just a couple quick things because I know you want to hear from Coach MacIntyre and from our coaching staff. Just a couple housekeeping things. So wanted to go ahead and announce, since we have a great crowd here tonight, we're going to be back here on Saturday, April 9th at 6 p.m. That's when we're going to have the spring game. So Saturday, April 9th at 6 p.m. Going to have a little bit of an evening event. An evening event feels a lot more like a game day, feels a lot more like a party. So we're going to go with that 6 o'clock kickoff. And something we want to do, I know that we just finished up this past year 20 years of FIU football. So that's amazing in two ways, how young we are and also the fact that we've been playing football for 20 years. So what we're going to look to do is we really want to get out there and talk to as many of our former football players as we can and get them back for April 9th. We want to get a lot of our former players back for April 9th. So that's something we're going to work on to really celebrate that 20 years of football here at FIU, because we've accomplished a lot, and it needs to be celebrated. So we're going to look to do that on April 9th. And then hopefully everybody knows we've put out a game day survey. We really want to have a great game day experience at all of our games. So if you have not filled that survey out, please do that. We want to get your feedback so we can make sure that we know what you're looking for in game day. Then also, please support a lot of our other events. We've got a lot going on with basketball and softball and baseball getting ready to start up. So look forward to seeing you at all those events as well. But with that, I've already been speaking too long. Want to turn it back over to AJ so that we can keep going with the evening. But thank you all for being here.
Let's go for Scott.
Pause up. Thank you.
When Scott was introduced the end of November, the quote stuck out from his press conference. He said, "I'm a builder, not a maintainer." The football coach he just hired certainly would fit that profile as a builder. Everywhere he's been, he's taken programs to the next level, whether it was at Colorado or San Jose State. Winning a National Coach of the Year award is something you can hang your hat on for an entire career. Mike MacIntyre has won 2 of them, not just one. He won it twice, distinction that very few people can say in this profession. We're excited to have him here. We're excited to talk about this class and welcome the next crop of FIU Panthers. He's done a great job in just a month plus. Let's give a big round of applause for Mike MacIntyre.
Thank you. Are you ready for some football? All right. It's always football in my household, always. All right.
Love that. Section 112 is here. You'll get to know him, Coach.
I love them. I love them already.
Coach, you got here December 9th. It is, February 3rd, I think?
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of time to put together a class. It's certainly a challenge. How did you go about it? What was your strategy to put this together in such a short time span? What you been able to do?
Well, first of all, it took a lot of people helping us. And getting here, getting to know everybody, and doing all that. So I want to take a minute and thank a few people,
Sure.
okay?
Let's do it.
Now, if I miss some names, don't get mad at me. I'd like to thank Barry Barnhart and the band. We walked all of MLK together. Their support, what he's done. The cheerleaders and the dancers, I've seen them everywhere I've been, all over the place. It's amazing. Really appreciate Dr. Ken Jessel being here tonight. It means a lot to us. Roger Tovar, I believe he's here, Board of Trustees. Elizabeth Behar, everywhere I go, she's there. All her people have helped so much. Joey Corey, who helped kind of steer this event. I appreciate Joey. Sandy and Andrew, they're here in housing. I've bothered them to death about housing. They've been phenomenal. Isa and Nick in academics. Every Saturday, every time we brought a group through, they were helping, and they're doing a great job with our kids. Jody Glassman, her staff, her academics, admissions, her campus tour guides were phenomenal. They even sing the fight song when we go on our tour guides. It's awesome. Sandra and Chris in the business office and HR. Hey, there's the little kids always here in the background. Hey, there you are. It's awesome. Appreciate what y'all have done. Kevin Kendrick, Jimmy, Octavian Tempest, putting up with me and our staff. All we've had to do, we really appreciate it. Y'all jumped through hoops for us, and it means the world. Then our staff, the recruiting staff, been phenomenal. And then Cam, Katie Basin, and Ryan Webb in our football ops. Video, Michael Lombardo in the house, all right. The training room, Dustin, I think he's here with what they've had to do. Our strength staff, nutritionists, analysts, GAs, all these people have been working tirelessly since we've gotten here. It's just been phenomenal. JR, his staff with facilities, Miguel and his staff, incredible. Scott Carr and Heath Click putting up with me, and Julie helping them out, putting up with me. I appreciate it, and the whole athletic department. And if there's anyone else, I'm sorry I forgot, but y'all mean the world to us. And then, of course, my awesome, incredible wife, Trisha. Where are you at, Trisha? Right there. And so I know there's other people, but what I'm trying to say is it took an army to do all we've done. So it's not just our football staff and myself. It's everybody involved and taking time on vacation. I mean, we did this during Christmas. We did this during holidays. We did this all the time, and I just can't thank those people enough.
You talk about immersion into the process. Before we get more on the class in just a second, I want to ask, Coach and a lot of the staff have literally gone back to college. A lot of them have been living in the dorms during this transitionary period. Coach, how's the setup? Are you ready to get out? Have you gotten out yet? Found a play? I mean, you are immersed in the recruiting, living on campus. How has that been?
It's been good. I enjoyed the time on campus, but I have gotten off of campus. I found an Airbnb I'm staying in, so that's been good.
Tell me what excites you about this class. You brought in a number of transfers, some from Power 5 programs. Right. You have a number of talented underclassmen as well all across the board. What excites you when you look at the scope of what you've been able to bring in thus far?
Right. This class, we brought in 27 young men so far. We were able to bring in 11 over about a 5-day period. That's when all those people jumped in and helped us, which they haven't done here before as far as bringing people in that quickly by January 10th. So that was phenomenal. We brought in a lot of, we've really well-rounded our team because we had a lot of needs. We were down to 6 offensive linemen is all we had on campus. It's hard to practice with 6 offensive linemen. So we're able to get guys in there, and the coaching staff did a great job doing that. So we're really well-rounded. I like what we did on offense and defense. I like our mixture of young people and the older guys. And then it's been a good fit.
We're going to get to know the coaches tonight as well. You weren't just recruiting players. You were recruiting coaches to this staff, which has recently just been announced as of yesterday. The official staff and all the paperwork has been signed for them as well. We're going to talk to all of them today. Right. But tell me that process of recruiting the staff. You've brought on so many talented head coaches with such great recruiting experience that you down here in South Florida. You're recruiting players, but you also recruited one heck of a staff.
Yes. You know, the staff is the key. We got to get people that are experts at what they do. But first and foremost, okay, is that they care about people. And especially they care about young people. So that was a big component of mine as I researched them and looked into them. And then I had certain things I wanted to be able to do offensively, defensively. And then the recruiting side of it is extremely important for the area. But the one question I ask, I think every single one of them, they know I have, do they want to be here? Do they want to be in South Florida? Do they want to be at FIU? Are they fully in? And they've all bought in, and it's been a lot of fun with these guys. And they've hit the ground running, and I'm very, very proud of those guys.
We're very excited to see them get here. We'll have maybe an early glimpse of some of them for the spring game here on April 9th.
Yes, you will, and you're going to get to meet them all here in a minute. They're going to come up and talk. You can see their personalities and see why I thought so much of them, and everything there.
So we're going to go through all the coaches here. Coach, we'll give you a minute. We'll have you back on stage at the end. Maybe you can take on some of the students over there on the quarterback game.
Exactly.
Or the Shark Rodeo.
Also, we have the videos running of all the young men we signed, and we signed 14 on offense and 11 on defense. And we feel like we have a well-rounded class, and we're excited about those guys.
All right, let's give a round of applause. Mike MacIntyre, everybody. All right, we're going to go through the coaches here, get to know them, what brought them to FIU, their story, and their thoughts on the athletes that they'll soon be coaching here at FIU. Our first coach we're going to bring up, nearly 25 years of coaching experience, most recently under Mac Brown at the University of North Carolina. Let's give it up for Javon DeWitt, our defensive coordinator.
Hey, bud, how you doing? Good.
Coach was downing some coffee here a moment ago. Just got here on Saturday, but he'd already gone to work on the recruiting trail. And Coach, you have a lot of South Florida coaching experience as well.
Yep.
You said every high school you visited in Dade or Broward, you feel like the coaching staff there is giving you a hug as you showed up.
It's been pretty cool. You come back home, and obviously I've kept a house in West Palm Beach for a really long time, and been through Broward and Palm Beach and Dade, so it was really cool to get back around a lot of, one of the cool things for me is some of the schools I got to go to is like get to go visit my friends that just happen to coach high school football. Right. So for me, it's been really fun, and really appreciate all the high school coaches I've got to see the last week or 10 days, and tell those guys thanks a bunch for all the help that they've given us.
I want to ask you, who in this class, or is there anyone in particular that you want to spotlight that stands out to you coaching the defense? You have a lot of returners, and you have a lot of new guys coming in that can get the job done. What stands out to you on the defensive side?
It's been pretty funny because some of the guys I've known for quite a while, some from 8th grade on, I've known those guys through the recruiting process and through camps, but the one guy who almost looked like he kept trying to get away from me was Kinsler, Latari Kinsler from out in Pahokee. Like I said, I lived up in Wellington, which isn't too far away from Pahokee, so I knew him. I think he had like 21 sacks or more as a senior in high school, and I moved out to Nebraska. I was recruiting him out there. He came on an official visit. He ended up going away, and then he came back this last semester. So, it's kind of like, ha-ha, I finally got you. You can't get far enough away from me.
It all came
so that's
full
been
circle.
really fun.
Yeah. What have you learned in your last stops? You're always learning, evolving as a coach. Now a full-time role as a defensive coordinator. What have you learned in your last few stops that has you feeling you're prepared for this moment?
I think one of the things that you always want to look at as you evolve as a coach is you want to make sure that you're understanding how football is progressing. And so you always try to look at different pieces and parts that you can take from different schemes. So for me, one of the biggest things I've learned over the course of the last few seasons is as much as you've got good schemes and good thought processes and what you want to do, is how much the players know and how much the players can execute, and adapting your scheme to the players as opposed to trying to get your players to adapt to your schemes.
All right, before we bring up Ricky Brumfield, Coach, and don't mind me sharing this real quick because I want everybody to know, I feel folks in Nebraska know, players take on the personality and the character of their coaches. In 2019, Coach was diagnosed with throat cancer, had 38 rounds of radiation, 3 rounds of chemo. He beat it, he took it on, he was sneaking out of the hospital to go back to the field and be with his players. And now he's your defensive coordinator. Let's give it up for Javon DeWitt.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul.
All right, up next, your special teams coordinator comes here from the grounds of the University of Virginia, Ricky Brumfield. Let's give it up for Ricky.
Shout out to Section 112. Where y'all at?
All right, Ricky, special teams. You have a great history with it. It was only a few years ago you were mentoring the #1 kick returner in America. What does it take to have special teams executed the way it needs to here at FIU?
Pride, purpose, and passion. I think if everybody has pride in what they're doing, in every single phase, they have passion in what they're doing, and they have a purpose and they understand what's going on, we'll all be successful. So, I always talk about pride, purpose, and passion. If we have that, we'll be great.
Anybody in this class that you want to spotlight or stands out to you?
Yeah, there's a guy that this should be the only time you will ever hear his name. Should be. Should never, ever hear his name. Reason being because he's a long snapper, and if you ever hear his name and see his name, then there's a problem. So Jackson Lee is a kid from Arizona, and Coach and Mac and I, we actually drove all the way to Arizona in a Toyota Corolla, I believe it was. No, I'm kidding. But we drove all the way out, went and saw him, and he's a great kid, and he's going to do great things for us in the future.
That's a great point. Maybe Jackson would love a little more love throughout the years, but you're right. Typically, as a long snapper, if we don't know about you, you're doing a good job.
Exactly. So that's the plan. So this should be the last time y'all hear about him. But he's a good kid. He's a really good kid.
Well, Coach, we're glad to have you down here in Miami. A little bit warmer than the grounds up in Charlottesville.
A lot warmer.
We're glad to have you here. Let's get a round of applause. Ricky Brumfeld, our special teams coordinator. Hey, I mentioned a moment ago how being a coach of the year twice is certainly something to hang your hat on. A lot of times football players, they work to be the team captain by their senior year. This guy right here, George Frazier, your defensive line coach, 3 times, 3 years, he was the captain at the University of Colorado. So let's welcome George Frazier to FIU.
Hello, everybody. George Frazier, the D-line.
George, I want to talk about your previous stop, your philosophy. You helped, when you were at UT Martin, you helped their defense to top 3 rankings all across the board. Whatever defensive category you looked at, your school was in the top 3 of probably every category. What did you emphasize at that program? What can you bring here to FIU?
Just playing violent, playing fast. Playing with fanatical effort, flying around all day, and just playing and leave it out on the line for your teammates.
Seen a lot of exciting players on film along the defensive line. Anybody stand out to you that you want to spotlight? You're excited to get coaching here soon.
Actually, we got a good group of guys. We brought in DJ Aiken out of South Carolina. We brought in Steven Shannon right here in Miami. And then we also brought in Will Prendergrass. When I say he's a Tasmanian, I can't wait to work with that guy. Flies around, always has a great motor, and I'm excited to work with him. He's going to be real big time here.
What are the most important intangibles for a defensive lineman to be successful in your mind?
Got to be mean, Got to be ready to use your hands. Got to be physical as heck. If you're not going to be physical, then I don't know if you're able to play up front.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to seeing that physicality. George Frazier, folks, a round of applause. Former Colorado team captain. We're going to bring Nate Tay up to the stage. Nate Tay, coaching the defensive backs. Served 6 seasons on the coaching staff at the University of Colorado. Coach, great to have you here. Just tell me your thoughts on the recruiting class, who you see and you're excited to coach here moving forward.
We have a great recruiting class. One of the stories I have for you is Samaj Flagg. He's from Booker T. Washington High School, and during his visit, he wasn't eating enough. So Coach Mack asked him, "What do you like to eat?" He's like, "Oh, Chick-fil-A." And then he goes, "Oh, we have that on campus." He's like, "Okay." And then he didn't really believe him. So the next day we do a campus tour. He sees Chick-fil-A. He's pretty juiced. And at the end of the day, I asked him, I was like, what was the whole best part of the trip? He goes, "Coach, I'm going to be at Chick-fil-A and in the weight room. That's where you're going to catch me." So that was probably one of the best highlights.
Chick-fil-A is a very popular spot on this campus.
Who doesn't like Chick-fil-A?
Just don't go there at noon. You won't get a sandwich. The line is out the building. We're excited to coach him. I know he's ready to get here. You'll be excited to coach him. Appreciate the time. Thank you. That's Nate Tay, folks. Corey Bell, come on up. Corey Bell also with the defensive backs.
Corey Bell is coming.
Corey Bell. How are you, man?
Good.
Great to have you here. Corey Bell, former head coach at Miami Edison American Senior High School as well. He was the youngest head coach in high school football in the state of Florida when he was hired there at the age of 25. I was not ready to be a head coach at the age of 25.
I wasn't either.
Many lessons learned, I'm sure.
I was thrown into the fire.
A lot of recruiting ties have certainly been developed through that, especially in your time coaching at the University of Florida as well. What makes South Florida high school football different? What makes it special in your mind? You would know more than anyone.
I mean, it's the mecca of football, high school football. I mean, it's year-round. It's played year-round. We're trained year-round, so the kids are, into it year-round, so it's a unique experience for them.
You've coached nearly a dozen players that have gone on to compete in the NFL. What are the qualities, the characteristics of those guys that you're going to try to impart on this FIU roster and the players that you coach?
I mean, you said it. It's just them being coachable. you know, being coachable, listening and understanding, you know, developing a relationship of trust and doing what you ask them to do to help them elevate their game.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to your experience bringing it here to FIU. Appreciate the time. It's Corey Bell.
Appreciate being here.
Yes, sir. All right. That's the defensive side of the football. We're going to flip it over to the offense now. We're going to start with our new offensive coordinator. Hard to miss with those long locks coming in. Offensive coordinator David Yost. Let's give it up for David.
Thank you. Thank you.
2018 semifinalist for the Broyles Award, awarded to the top assistant coach in college football. There we go. You look at the quarterbacks he's mentored. Plenty have gone on to the NFL level. Maybe Justin Herbert rings a bell. Jordan Love, Chase Daniel. You've coached a lot of talented quarterbacks. What is the common theme among those guys that you'll try to impart upon whoever takes the quarterback spot here, whether it's Grayson, whether it's Gunnar, Amari, whoever it may be? What are you trying to impart?
Well, the first thing, if you want to be a good quarterback coach, you have good quarterbacks. It starts that way.
That's important.
I never showed any of those guys how to throw it. I just kind of help them continue what they're capable of doing and everything. Yeah. But no, making great decisions, throwing it to the right guy, the right time, the right way is really what quarterbacking comes down to. And excited about all of our guys and get to see them this spring spin it a little bit.
I liked one of your quotes you gave the Miami Herald a few weeks ago. You said, I tell our team, we're going to blitz the defense. They're not going to blitz us. We're going to put the pressure on them. Where does your offensive philosophy come from? You know, who are your influences, and how are you going to try to utilize the athletes that always come through FIU to the greatest advantage?
Well, we're going to be a fast-paced team, use the speed. I mean, Florida is known for the speed and their athletes and all. And everywhere else you go in the country, they talk about Florida speed and especially South Florida speed. So we want to use that. We're going to be a tempo offense. We want to attack. I was with Coach Pinkel for 17 years at Missouri and Toledo. A lot of what we do came from that, a lot of my organizational traits. But then with Coach Leach, with the air raid, understanding kind of how to attack all aspects of the field, and then my time at Oregon and the kind of the run game and the tempo and how fast you can go and how much pressure that puts on the defense, and that's where we want to attack the defense. We want to be the aggressor in everything that we do. We want to force the issue.
I want to bring it back to the recruits and what makes South Florida unique. You mentioned you've coached all around the country. You've zigzagged around. You just mentioned Missouri, Oregon. You were at Texas Tech for a bit of time recruiting a talent-rich Texas area. And now being in South Florida, we were talking a little about it earlier. What makes South Florida unique? You've recruited all around the country, and Texas is typically also recognized as a talented spot.
Well, there's so much talent down here, and then on top of it, what the coaches do. The high school coaches in this state, especially in the South Florida area, the time and effort they put in because they're full-time teachers and full-time coaches, and what they do for those kids and how invested they are in their lives is tremendous. The high school coaches go above and beyond what they get paid. I mean, and they do it because they want to do it. It's not because it's just a job to them, and that's been so impressive with that. I've been other places where you're just a head football coach,
right?
And that's a great thing to have. But here, the guys that are working with the student athletes in high school, they do it probably more for the enjoyment and the love of doing it as opposed to just their job. So it's a passion for them, and you can see it in them when you go out to recruit their players.
Yeah, the South Florida high school coaches, certainly there's a lot of responsibility on their plate and have continued to do a good job. Before I let you go, before we bring Josh Urkel up here, got to ask, you've made the decision because you've been asked about it. You're keeping the long locks. It's a hairstyle that's here to stay. You said you previously got a perm. Your wife wasn't really happy about it after, but you feel this helps in recruiting too.
Well, I get people notice me and people remember me and everything. I do need to get a little of my blonde back. It's kind of my natural blonde has grown out a little bit, so I got to get a little add-ins and get that done here shortly. But no, it just kind of lets me be a little bit different. You get noticed. When you're at a practice, when you walk into school, I've had a lot of guys that you meet, and then during the recruiting, especially with the transfer portal now, you get on the phone with them and you say, hey, this is Coach Yost of such and such, and they're like, oh, and they're like, I met you before. And they're like, oh, okay, and I'm like, I was the guy with the long hair. They're like, oh, I remember you, Coach. So it brings it back that way, and it's kind of just a little niche that I have that I've kind of stuck with, and I like long hair.
I can see it being a marketing promotion down the road, the student section filled with David Yost hairstyle wigs.
I have nothing to do with that.
David Yost, everybody. Let's give it up for our new offensive coordinator. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to bring up our tight ends coach now, Joshua Ergel, who was a part in 2017 of one of the greatest turnaround stories in college football. Josh, great to have you up here, man. Appreciate you. When he was at Alston P, prior to him getting there, that program had won one game in 4 years. The very next season, they went 8-1 in FCS play. They had one win in 4 years. He gets on this staff, and he's part of a big turnaround in college football. Coach, obviously, we're looking for a similar kind of flip.
Yeah.
What went into a transition like that? What does it take to flip the switch like that?
Well, I tell you, first of all, it starts with the student athletes, and they just got to have the hunger and the want to and the willingness to buy into a new regime. I tell you what, now, these guys have been impressive to be around. The little bit that we've been able to see our guys and reports we get from Coach Durfee in the weight room has just been phenomenal. When you get to meet the guys in the hallway or see them on campus, the hunger in their eye is something special to really, really see. It's been, they've got what it takes to make that turnaround, and you guys hired the right man and had the right leadership above him, and this thing's going to flip in a hurry, I promise you.
The tight end position at FIU has been a very talented one through the years. A couple seasons ago, Pharaoh McKeever went on to have some NFL experience. Sterling Palmer had a touchdown in the Bahamas Bowl.
Yeah.
Rivaldo Fairweather is signing NIL deals now.
Yeah.
You have a lot to work with the tight ends position. Who excites you coming in this incoming class as well?
Well, I'll tell you what, you walk in our facility and you see all the NFL players up on the wall, and two of those guys are tight ends that played here in a short period of time. And so we're really, really excited about trying to develop the next guy. You mentioned several right there. There's a really, really talented room that's already here. We were able to add one in this recruiting class. And but it's going to be a heck of a competition this spring, but it's going to build and be an asset to our offense. And we got an offensive coordinator that uses the tight end in a way that he can be showcased. You know, a lot of offenses don't do that. And so feel very, very blessed, very, very honored to be here in this scheme, working for these people with these young men. Josiah, we bring him up on this visit. Just a quick story about him. And one of the new tight ends we brought in from Iowa. And he comes down for his visit, is excited, is hungry. I mean, you can tell he's going to fit right in with these guys.
Right.
He's got that same look in his eye. We send him back. He has the official visit. He's like, yeah, Coach Mack, we're coming. I want to be a part of what you're doing, Coach Mack. And he turns around, gets in his car, and he drives 20 straight hours to Miami, Florida to be a Panther. It was phenomenal. So we've got to meet him at the dorm, and I'm unpacking, and his legs are wobbly, and his eyes are glazed over. I'm like, man, I don't know how you did that. But he was just so excited to be a Panther and to join that group we have in that awesome room.
Yeah, he seems like he'll be a very coachable athlete for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love guys like that. 20 hours in the car. Woo, that's something else. All right, let's give a round of applause. Greg Austin, your offensive line coach. Appreciate it, Coach. Or Joshua Ergel, I'm sorry. Bring up Greg Austin. That's Coach Josh Ergel, your tight ends coach. Greg Austin, your offensive line coach, coming in, who a couple years ago we had a tough game against UCF. UCF went on to do really good things. A national championship or something like that. Went 13-0. Coach was a part of that staff, has worked with Scott Frost for a number of years. He's also been with the Philadelphia Eagles. Coach, welcome to FIU.
Great to be here.
Have you here. Exciting day. We've talked about a number of recruits. I want to get your perspective of some of the big hogs you'll see along that offensive line and who you're excited to coach.
Oh, I'm excited to coach, heck, all of them. I mean, we've added a couple guys today, 3 guys today, and then we had a couple guys that actually signed for us even before today that have already joined us. They're actually in the crowd here. I'm excited for all these guys, and ready to get to work.
You at Nebraska, you guys average over 200 yards per game on the ground, and in your coaching career, you've mentored 6 future Pro Bowlers. What does it take for an offensive? You got 5 people that you're trying to make one unit. How do you do that successfully? What have you seen from the best groups at that position?
I mean, it's that teamism, that team mentality. Every decision that they make is with the best interest of the man to the right and to the left of them. And that makes the best offensive linemen. That makes the best teams. And we want to be a reflection of what our team looks like, the offensive line unit. Coach Durfee, the other day when these guys were running, he talked to the linemen. He said, as you go, we go. Right? He told the guys, as you go, we go. He told the offensive linemen as they were running. And I believe that. Because as we go, the offense goes. As we go, we give the defense an opportunity to pin guys back and put their ears back and get after the passer and play good defense. So, it all comes down to the offensive line.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting when Coach Yost was talking to the Herald the other day. They asked him, what's the most important position on offense? He said, well, whatever that offensive line is doing predicates everything across the football. You've got a talented core of running backs to block for, and we'll see he winds up a quarterback. We're excited to see it happen. Let's give a round of applause. Greg Austin, our offensive line coach. One more here. One more to talk to before we bring Coach Mack back up and talk about what's coming up next. Our new running backs coach, coming from right down the road from the University of Miami, Eric Hickson, our new running backs coach. Come on up, Coach. Just signed the contract. Good to have you here, man.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
excited
how's
to
the
be
last week been? How's the last week been going?
here. Do you really want to know?
Yeah, tell us.
Well, it was going well when I was on the recruiting trail until I was in the cold red and locked in the closet at one of the high schools here, so it was going well.
We'll have to talk more about that.
Yeah.
Is there a happy hour spot over here? we'll talk more about that. Running backs,
Yes.
you got some talented ones. I know Devontae Price is departing. Unfortunately, won't be able to coach him. But a number of talented guys coming back, whether Flex Joseph, E.J. Wilson come to mind. You're always going to get players with talent coming out of Miami as well, in whatever recruiting class it is. I know it's been a short stint since you signed, but what have you seen from the recruiting class that you're excited to get working with?
Well, the guys that I have in the room are very talented. I think it's going to be a great group. They understand, the running back motto is success don't care about how you feel, it only cares about the process. So every day they got to know they got to come in and work, they got to compete, and being able to be, because we got one football. And once we get out there, we're going to get out there hard. So.
If you don't know about Coach Hickson, I'll say before we bring Coach Mack back up. Graduated from Dillard High School, just up 95, was a star there for Dillard, and then went on to become the leading rusher in program history at Kansas State. He knows a thing or two about running the football. Now he'll be mentoring our running backs. Round of applause, Eric Hickson, coaching our running backs. Appreciate you. One more, we got one more as well. Let's bring up Jay MacIntyre, our wide receivers coach.
All right, I was forgotten, but I'm here now. We're all good. Section 112, you got anything for me? All right. All right, there we go.
Coach, I'm asking two things. I'm going to ask you about some guys coming in from the recruiting class, but I also want to touch on a dynamic player that we were able to keep here at FIU, Tyrese Chambers, who went on to have one of the best seasons in FIU history. Broke program records held by a guy named T.Y. Hilton. You may have heard of him before.
Yep.
That seemed like an early priority when you and the staff got here. You had actually known him before you arrived here at FIU. That was a great job to keep. Can you tell us about that story?
Yeah, so some people don't really know this. Actually, probably none of you guys do. But when I was at UT Martin, I was watching film on a guy in a transfer portal from Sacred Heart. And I was like, this dude can play. We got to get him here. And I happened to be Tyrese Chambers' first offer at UT Martin out after he transferred from Sacred Heart. And we were actually going to get him there for a second, but then some other teams got on him, and FIU ended up getting him. And we were watching him on TV this year, and I was like, Coach, that's the guy, and breaking all T.Y. Hilton's records. So we're excited.
You have a lot of pieces to work with. When you were at Colorado as well, you were a wide receiver there. You were top 30 all-time in receiving yards. You made your mark there. What things did you learn playing the position that you try to implement now with the guys you're coaching?
Yeah, one of my favorite things about being a coach is kind of using all the type of situations and different stuff I went through as a player and being able to relate to the guys today. So one thing you'll hear me say often is one snap and clear. A lot of times in the beginning of my career at hard times, if I dropped the ball, if I made a mistake, if I did something wrong, it carried with me for about 20 extra plays.
Right.
And so today, we're going to live by that. We're going to live by, you drop a ball, okay, one snap and clear. Okay, you miss assignment, one snap and clear. Move on to the next one, go make the next play. If you're on that field, we believe in you, I believe in you. I want you to play with that type of confidence.
Last thing here, this recruiting class, I know we have a pair of transfers from Syracuse and Indiana making their way down here. Mike Jackson comes to mind as well as a high school recruit that'll be making his way to the program. What are your impressions of some guys we're going to see very soon?
Oh, you guys are going to be excited about the 4 guys we got coming in. You talked about it, the 2 transfers, Jacoby Hewitt from Indiana and Sherrod Johnson from Syracuse, both played there. We're good players there, and heck, they're working hard down here and going to do great things. Also, JUCO transfer Jalen Bracey. He's quick as lightning, and you'll see that quickly. He's going to make a lot of plays for us. And then down the street, Mike Jackson. He's little, but he can roll. He can roll. The Miami-Dade Defensive Player of the Year, but heck, he also had 14 career return touchdowns, which is a record as well. So we're pumped up, and we got some dudes.
We talk a lot about the FIU family. You played for Pops. Now you're going to get to coach with them. That's a pretty cool thing. Looking forward to that moving forward. Round of applause, Jay MacIntyre. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, Mike, come on back up, man.
Thank you.
All right, once again, we really appreciate you guys coming out here tonight. Make sure to hang around a little bit longer. We're not closing up shop once we're done. You can head out around the field, walk around there. You got all sorts of things around here to do. We really appreciate you coming out here tonight. Hopefully you can see you April 9th as well. I know you're looking forward to the spring game. You can take a momentary break from how much you were recruiting. Recruiting never stops. Right. We know. But now you can kind of focus on some on-the-field stuff, installing the systems. I know you're ready to get moving forward for the spring game now.
Yes, we are. Matter of fact, on Tuesday we had our first individual meetings, and then we'll have some tomorrow morning also. So our coaching staff's working hard. Our kids are buying in. It's exciting. We've got a lot of our players here. Hey, our current players, raise your hand. Raise your hand.
There they go.
There was a bunch of them around earlier. There's quite a few of them. And we have a few former players here. Raise your hand right over here.
Anthony Gator back there.
Anthony Gator, Sip.
So Sip's in the building. There we go.
All right. All right. So appreciate all you guys being here. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Well, can you allude to that too as well? I know it's a priority for you to bring back in the tradition. The people who have laid the foundation for what FIU football is now, just completing its 20th season. How important is it to have them a part of what you're trying to build?
Oh, it's extremely important. It's their school. It's their program. Those young men built it. On April 9th for the spring game, we're trying to get as many former players back as we can. Right. And so Sip and Gator, we need to get those guys back. And on April 9th, we really want to make a big push for that and really start celebrating the 20 years of football here at FIU.
What excites you, just to put it all in perspective as we start wrapping up here, what are some of the most exciting things about this class? You put it all together, and there might still be 3 or 4 moving forward, but when you look at what you got on paper, transfers, underclassmen coming in, what excites you about the future of FIU football right now?
Well, I feel like speed and athleticism. I feel like we got speed and athleticism at all our skill positions. We looked hard for that. We really were pushing hard for that. And then we got some big O-linemen. Got some really big O-linemen. And I'm excited about those guys and what they're going to do. And the defensive front, I feel excited about those guys also. So I think the staff did a great job of finding people that we could fill out our whole roster. And we'll have a few more coming in as we go. And we're looking forward to spring practice and see how these guys work. And so far, they've been phenomenal young men buying into everything we do. And it's been exciting for me to work close with Scott Carr and our relationship and keep building this thing. And you see some of our players have a T-shirt on that says Elevate. So when you turn around a program, you elevate. And what I mean by elevate is they move a little bit every day. And so, for example, I'll give a quick example of what I mean by elevate. If a young man is in the weight room and we test out on the squat, and they squat 400 pounds on their first test, and that's their personal best, I'm going to go, that's great. Noel's going to say, that's great, Noel Durfee. But the next time we max out, or they get to with their test again, it better be like 405. It better be 410. You want to keep moving the needle. So you want to keep elevating yourself. You want to be content about what you're doing, but you never want to be satisfied. And there's a fine line there.
Mike, last thing for you here before we wrap up. You'll mingle around a little bit. When you were at Colorado, you took them to a top 10 national ranking. a Pac-12 division championship, and that wasn't even that long ago. When you were at San Jose State, end of the season, top 25 ranking, and a lot of similarities with San Jose State and FIU. Big school, big program, in a city, trying to flip things around. At those two schools, what was it that helped engineer those turnarounds? What are you going to try to do here? What lessons have you taken that you can apply to trying to get FIU to where you want it to be?
Well, the first thing that helped us turn us around is we were aligned from the top to the bottom, administration, athletic department, coaching staff.
Absolutely.
I definitely feel like that is here for sure. Don't feel like it, know it. The other side of it is the staff we put together, all the people that were around the program believed in us and helped us, because it takes all of us to get it going. And then first and foremost, we had a lot of hungry football players that had something to prove. And when you have that and you have everybody around the program and in the university helping elevate and push that and giving their help along the way, it will turn. And this will turn too. And then the great thing about here is we will sustain, because there's so many players in this area. Football is so important. You don't have to rebuild. Once we rebuild, we'll be able to reload in this area.
It's the right combination right there, and it certainly looks like all those pieces are in place. We'd like to thank everyone who's joining us on Facebook Live as well for tuning into the program. Thank all of you so much for being here. Mike, we'll probably see you at the basketball game tomorrow. I feel like
I'm going to be there cheering.
One.
I'm going to be there cheering. We'll be there Thursday night and Saturday night. I love watching our basketball team play. I've been to a lot of the women's games too, and excited about softball and baseball and everything coming up in the spring. And I'd like to thank Randy Press and his group of people that have helped set everything up and what they've done tirelessly behind the scenes. And also, one person I forgot to thank is Ricky, our manager. He was there every day with all the photo shoots, all the things he did, all his group. I really appreciate it.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a terrific National Signing Day. Appreciate the time.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Paul's up!
Paul's up!
Paul's up!